What's going on YouTube? Today, as promised, we have the Blue Eyes Odion deck profile. I think this deck is pretty sweet. It's got a lot of really cool synergies outside of the Man on the Mark being a spellcaster for the Spirit Link one. One of the big things I really like about Blue Eyes is playing the Trap card, and this deck makes it abusable in a lot of different ways. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and profile this. I'm sorry for audio issues in my last upload. I use a GoPro from time to time, and I'm not really happy with how it has performed, so I'm going to go ahead and just do this with an old camera that I have lying around. So we're going to go ahead and get into this Blue Eyes Odion deck profile. So to start, there is 2 Blue Eyes. You could probably make the argument for one in a build like this, but, you know, for now we're going to try at 2. And the 3 stages. Stages 1 card combo. I'll be sure to show the combo off at the end of the profile for those of you who are interested. 3 Maiden. You could probably bump this down to 2 if you wanted to play another defensive card like something like Call By, but I wanted to have 3. Just as more ways to play. Then 2 Wishes. There are a lot of bricks in this version, and like the first one is like usually the only one to resolve, so I wanted to play 2 to have multiple copies of the card to have a chance of drawing it. You could also probably cut this to 1 to make room for more non-engine or protection, or just cut down the deck size. It is at 43 cards. It's hard to find room, but 1 Roar, 1 Mausoleum, 1 Majesty, 1 True Light. So this is the Blue Eyes engine. This is pretty much as condensed down as you can get it. Like, in my opinion, I guess, like I said, you could cut 1 of each of these and make it even thinner, but these 2 cards are still starters. So, and the Blue Eyes engine is the more important one to draw into for this. So, yeah. That's it for the Blue Eyes part. For the Odion stuff, there's the 3-man... 3 Anubis. These are still really important at 3, even though this is the weaker of the 2 engines for this particular deck. Still required to play Circuit. 3 Treasures. 1 Temple, still requirement. And then 2 of each Apophis. I'm not playing the Anguish pattern in here, or Embodiment, or anything like that, because there's just not room. You don't really need to do the Eradicator combo in this version of the deck either, so I think this is like the minimum Apophis engine that you would need to play in a deck. You could probably make an argument to play 1 of this instead of 2, but I like 2 ofs for cards that I want to see but don't want to have too many of, so as far as 2 of each. You could probably cut down an Anubis if you wanted to, but for now this is the Anubis engine as well, or Odion engine. I am playing the Magnamut and Pot of Prosperity for like non-engine / consistency. I do play Dominus Purge, so it conflicts with the Magnamut. But I feel like that, like, if I'm playing Ash Blossom anyway, the argument for Purge having conflicting hand traps is irrelevant. Also, Magnamut is just like the best thing to search for seals, because you will go through both Blue Eyes in the deck, so it's like nice having just a card, even if it is like dead, because you had to Purge. It's nice having the Magnamut just in case. And then the only unfortunate part about this version of the deck is the amount of non-engine that we can play is pretty low, even in 43. So I decided to play just the ones that made the most sense, being these 12. I feel like these are the best 9 in the format right now, and then the deck just abuses Purge. Especially nicely because we are Blue Eyes, so that means we have access to Tyrant, but also, you know, Purge being able to let Temple of the Kings use his Ignition effect. Yeah, I feel like these 12 have been fine. I haven't really had any issues. I will say this deck does struggle going second, so there is the argument to cut on some of the engine parts of the deck to make room for more non-engine. This is just like a very preliminary version of the deck. I've only played a few matches online. I've decided to go back to pure just because I like eradicatoring people. But I wanted to get this profile because I mentioned last time that I did have something cooked up for this. And then for the extra deck, just real quick, we got the 2 Apophis fusions. You'll make the first one turn 1 with the full sage combo. And I like having 1 for follow-up. Definitely don't need 3 in this version. And then for the other 2 fusions, it's the Ultimate Dragon and the Tyrant. This card helps you grind a lot, especially with the Apophis cards, so it's really nice to have. There are a lot of 3-0s in this extra deck, including the next card, which will be 3 Blue Eyes Spirit. I know a lot of decks, even the pure Blue Eyes, only play 2, and you could probably play 2 if you really wanted to make room for other cards. But I do play a Synchro in the extra deck that uses one of my Spirit Dragons on the first turn. So I like to have this 2, because in theory, since you're using this for the combo, you're still only playing 2. So the 1 Ultimate Spirit, 1 Light Storm, and then the target that I'm playing for the turn 1 combo is Ancient Fairy Dragon. This is pretty important. You know, this is going to be the way that we bridge both engines together and make our highly interactive layered board. Ancient Fairy is broken card. I'm on a high by playing ABC and really wanted to play this card some more, so that's where this deck kind of like originated from. And then the links, pretty simple. We're playing 3 Spirit. This idea is the same with the Synchro Spirit because you'll use 1 in your main combo, so I wanted to have, you'll actually use 2 in your main combo for this. So I wanted to have 1 for the follow-up. You don't really need it for the follow-up, like, so you could probably cut this 2 for more extra deck space, but like I said, this is very preliminary and just like meant to like maximize both engines. And then the other link we play is Hieratic Seal for the end board. And then the last card we play is the Typhon. So yeah, that's the Blue Eyes Odion deck. Very, very fun. So we're going to go ahead and show off the combo. So it starts as simple as most Blue Eyes combos. You're going to start by the normal summon of Sage. Let me see if I can get a better focus point. Sage is going to go ahead and grab you Maiden. Maiden is going to pitch herself, and you're going to get True Light. We're assuming there's no hand traps here, so we're just not going to play like in a specified pattern to like help play around True Light getting destroyed. I should also mention this deck does this combo does require a discard, so we're just going to say that this Dominus Purge is also in our hand. True Light's going to activate here, and we are going to set Wishes. And this is where the discard comes from. You won't actually need a card for the Temple of the Kings, because you'll get it off of the Blue Eyes engine. So you're going to use Wishes. You're going to use Wishes pitching Purge. Make sure there's the graveyard. And then you're going to go ahead and add a Sage. And then you're going to add, if I can find it, it's going to be Roar. There we go. So this is why we're not going to need a card to set, is because we have these down here. Let me see if I can make this look a little bit better. Alright, so this is our hand down here. Our grave on the field. It will get cluttered up, so I'm going to try to move these out of frame more often. So just remember that our hand has Roar and Sage. So here we're going to go ahead and link off this Sage with Eyes of Blue. And we're going to make our first link being the Spirit. Spirit is going to get Mausoleum like normal. And this should look pretty normal for most players. So now we're going to activate the Mausoleum, which I hope is also in frame. It is, but the Spirit's not. This has been terrible, I'm sorry. We're going to use Mausoleum here. We're going to dump the first Blue Eyes and give him the attack. So now we're going to go ahead and activate this Spirit. We're going to summon back Blue Eyes, and this is going to trigger Maiden. And here we're going to use our extra normal summon on Sage. This is usually a nib spot for the normal Blue Eyes deck, so this is kind of like your check here too. Sage is just going to grab another copy of Maiden. If you wanted to play like a copy of Effect Veiler, or like, you know, change around some ratios on the hand traps if you think Veiler is better, you get a Veiler. So this is our hand now. So here we're going to make the Spirit Dragon. And then we are going to tag out the Spirit Dragon and make AFD. So one of the benefits of playing AFD in the Odion version of this deck is that this card is pretty much useless after the first turn anyway. And it's nice to get a new resource. So we're going to go ahead and pop the Mausoleum with his effect to gain 1,000 life points and search for a field spell with a different name. And it's kind of crazy. Wow. Treasure of the King's a field spell. So now we're going to activate Treasure of the Kings. Just put that in frame real quick. Get Odion's cards. So this is where the engine is going to start connecting. Here we're going to set the roar. So now this allows us to set our Apophis cards. So here we have this. So I will also say that you should probably just get the Judge, because the Judge is important. I'm just kind of like trained to not search Judge off of Treasure because I don't want to get hit by Droll, but here we're going to just say I use the Judge. So now we're going to use Ancient Fairy's effect to special summon the Man with the Mark. The Man with the Mark here is going to go get Temple of the Kings. And we're going to activate Temple of the Kings. We're going to activate this, summon it. And then we're going to go ahead and get the other Apophis trap, being Swamp Deity. So now we're going to summon the Swamp Deity since we have the effect given to us to activate it by Apophis the Serpent. And we're going to contact fuse into this guy. So this is part of our end board. This is why we need the second copy of, the third copy of Spirit, because here we're going to make this, and it's very important to use this one. So we're going to have another Spirit Dragon here. Try to condense the board down a bit. We're going to go ahead and use the Apophis to summon these two back, or set these two back into the back row. And we're going to activate the Roar here. Roar is going to summon the other Blue Eyes from the deck. If you really wanted to leave Blue Eyes in the deck for Seal, if you don't want to play Magnamut, because this is something you don't like to do, you can do that as well. Here we're going to synchro these into the second Spirit Dragon. And then we're going to link the Ancient Fairy and the Spirit into the Hieratic Seal. And this is what the end board looks like off of just one card. So you got the Seal's bounce, you got the Spirit, which can be a bounce or negate. Well, it will turn into an Omni Negate, rather. So, and the reason I like this so much is because True Light and Wishes had some pressure to want to search the trap. But now you can use True Light during your opponent's draw phase or whatever, or whenever you feel fit to activate it, and you can set Majesty. And then because you have Temple of the Kings out, you can activate the Majesty. So it gives you 2 pops, a bounce, a Graveyard Effect Negate if that's something that comes up in your particular matchup. You get the Tag Out, which the Tag Out turns into an Omni Negate. You get a Pop 1, you get a Negate 1. And the really cool part about this as well is whenever you activate the Apophis Serpent, you get the extra Swamp Deity. And Swamp Deity doesn't care about continuous traps in the sense that like they just have to be continuous traps monsters. It counts as any continuous trap. So True Light counts towards the Apophis trap too. So each one of these is +1 in negates, so it becomes like a Desiree every turn. There's a lot of layered interruption here. Like I said, 2 pops, 2 negates technically if there's a graveyard deck, a bounce, and then a pop, and then 2 to 3 negates each. It's really powerful. It's really cool. It is bricky, but that's the goal of uploading the profile, to see if I can get suggestions and ideas going forward to improve this deck. And I will give updates as we go. Thanks for watching. Remember to comment, rate, subscribe, and if you did enjoy the deck, let me know if you'd like to see more like decks with the Odion cards. I am very, very much so enjoying them. Thanks for watching. Peace, YouTube.